Good afternoon and welcome to George Andrews Reserve, and it's round 21 of the Atlantic Premier League, and we're here to witness the Dandenong Thunder entertain the Sunshine Georgies. And the equation's simple: a win for Dandenong and it keeps their chances of a final five finish alive. And as for the Georgies, a win to maintain their survival in this state's elitist competition. I'm Simon McCuskey, and with me Liam Bentley. And Liam, despite the stakes being so high, we nearly didn't have a game in our hands 20 minutes prior.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll see the state of the ground at the moment. It's not fantastic. It's probably a polite way to put it, Simon. But again, the game's going to go ahead. The referee has to look at the ground, and he's decided it is safe to go ahead. So he's the man with the knowledge and the man in charge. So we finally get a game in our hands, which is good for everyone. And
a big game for Dandenong. Aside from the fact that the result against Northcote is unknown, they really need to win these last two games if they're to steal a finals berth.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a close league, as I think we've said so many times this season. It's imperative that they get a win today, Simon. I think any time one of these kind of 4 or 5 teams in that position lose a match, it really gives a bit of oomph to the other teams as well.
And imperative for the Georgies to win as well. We did the game last week against Oakley. Remarkably, they've done the double over the Cannons this season. And who would have thought with 3 minutes to go the Georgies stole all 3 points, because they looked pretty much condemned to the first division.
Yeah, they did, and there was an absolutely remarkable comeback from the Georgies last week. And if we get a game half as exciting as that today, we'll be very lucky for the viewers.
Now, unfortunately for the Georgies, their #1 manager, Theo Constantino, is not managing this afternoon. He's out sick, and Taki Svingos is behind the helm. And now we do not have the team sheets available on the screen. Please note that this game was only going to be going ahead only 20 minutes ago, but we will read to you the team sheets and the starting lineups, and we'll start with the Dandenong Thunder. In goals: #1, Stuart Webster; 2, Ben Starstoza; 3, Noel Barnson; 6, Levent Osman; 7, Ibrahim Ibrahimi; 8, Scott Bullock; 9, Veton Kochari; 10, Jamie Reid; 13, Shane Rexepi; 14, Aaron Wilford; and 16, Ryan Davison.
And starting lineup for Sunshine Georgies: in goal as usual, #1, Martin John; 6, Sean Romain; 10, Leo Shin; 15, Fidel Richards; 17, Craig Sweeney; 24, Douglas Cameron; 25, Andrew Barakis; 27, Ben Cogger; 29, Taxi Harris Apostolikas; 31, Evan Christodoulou; and 32, Barry Devlin.
And we're all nearly underway here at George Andrews Reserve for this round 21 kickoff. And the Dandenong Thunder will be fuming. Last week they were leading against Green Gully, and remarkably Green Gully had 3 players sent off, and with 8 men they still took the points against Dandenong, and that will be 3 points that will rue the Thunder if they do not make the finals this season.
Yeah, every game, Simon, is getting to that stage of the old cliche of the 6-pointer, and every single game in these last 2 or 3 rounds really is, and it really is important for them to get a win today.
And as for the Georgies, well, their goal scorer last week, Pete Katsupius, speaking of red cards, was sent off as well, and he's the only change in the starting 11. And we're nearly underway here at George Andrews Reserve. It'll be the Sunshine Georgies kicking from left to right of your screen. And wherever you are streaming worldwide, we trust you enjoy the broadcast. And a very small crowd in attendance here at George Andrews Reserve. It must be noted that this game was originally meant to be scheduled for 7 p.m, but it did get changed. There were some question marks over the lights here, as we had the failure here when the Thunder entertained Northcote 2 weeks ago. And Northcote City were leading that match by 4 goals to 1. That game yet to be decided. And as for the Georgies, well, their fate's in their own hands. Win 2 games, it's really simple, and the Georgies will be relieved, Liam, that Richmond did them a favour last night. Unfortunately for the Magic, unbelievable that last year's champions are condemned to the first division.
Yeah, look, Simon, it didn't look like it for a point last night as well. For anyone that was maybe paying attention to the Facebook or at the game itself, when it went back to 3-2, you just thought maybe they had a bit of a sniff to come back and maybe take points in a remarkable comeback. But unfortunately for Altona, but very fortunately for Richmond, who can pretty much get the minor premiership if results go their way this weekend. If Hume don't get a win tomorrow, they can be the minor premiers, which would be a fantastic achievement for Richmond.
Which is amazing too, considering they didn't make the finals last season. Mike Chatchett-Thronis regardless of the squad he's had, Western Suburbs, Port Melbourne, and now Richmond, he's able to get the job done. And already we're seeing Barry Devlin there adjusting to the conditions. Did mention off air, this has the potential to be more of a mud wrestling contest at halftime than a football match, Liam.
Yeah, it certainly does. I just feel sorry for the poor person that has to wash these all-white Georgie strips after this. They are going to be in a terrible state.
It certainly is one of the heaviest pitches we've seen, and it really was a fine line. Referee Hakan Anas making a decision with only 20 minutes prior to kick-off whether this game was going to proceed. A deluge here in Dandenong last night. Here's Richards, and the Georgies really need him firing. So powerful in midfield, the former man from the Magic. Lost there by Jamie Reid. Unable to read that. Devlin. Was that a free? Rexepi.
And Simon, look, it'll be very interesting to see how the referee judges this. There's going to be a lot of challenges where there's going to be players that won't have control of themselves once they get into some of these piles of mud. And it'll be interesting to see if he's more lenient or he just tries to stamp it out at the start.
And there you have it. And not only the conditions, as you mentioned, Liam, but also, too, judging the ball. It's really not going to bounce at all. We just saw Webster there. Luckily for he, there was no white shirt around the 6-yard box. The ball just simply won't bounce. And it's going to be the team that commits the least amount of mistakes with these conditions will come through. You feel that goals are going to be scored courtesy of mistakes this afternoon rather than necessarily talent. Hakan Anas pointing for another ball, looks like. Taken by the Georgies, and speaking of mistake there, Osman, difficulty with these conditions. Luckily for he, Richards lost it.
And you can see straight away there's no one willing to gamble on a back pass in this type of condition. Osman trying to turn around himself and make the clearance rather than give it back to Webster.
Spot on, Liam. I think you'll only see back passes unless players are in a mile of space in their own half. The ball sent in, a good ball to Apostolikas. It falls here on the near post. Apostolikas not there, only Osman to clear. And Apostolikas, we did read him out wearing the number 29 strip. He's wearing 30. There's been a change in number since he's appeared on the pitch. And the Georgies draw their first corner for the afternoon. Speaking of the crowd, one of the smallest crowds I think we've ever seen at the Dandenong Thunder since they've been promoted a few years ago back into the Victorian Premier League. A combination of a new time with this game, 3 p.m, coupled with the last-minute decision to play this game has kept numbers down. But there's too much at stake to play for. Osman, another corner for the Georgies.
Yeah, I think the 3 o'clock kick-off time doesn't really suit the Thunder. That's why they've been with the 7 o'clock kick-off time for a while now. There's so many local clubs in the Dandenong area that most of them come and watch the football on a Saturday night.
And one of the clubs too that continue to draw a high attendance. Foul. Referee Hakan Anas on the spot. It's good to see referee Hakan Anas just back from some training, referee training conferences and courses in Europe, and speaking to Hakan prior to the match. Congratulations to him. He will be off to the AFC Cup, officiating in a few games in 2 months' time, and it's great to see that the pool of referees within this competition and state is being recognised by the Asian Football Confederation and also the FFA.
Yeah, Simon, it's good to see we'll get so many young referees coming through, the likes of Lucien Lovejoy, Alex Lord and the like, as well as Hakan Anas and the more experienced referees who are now pushing and showing the way for the young referees.
And speaking of Hakan Anas, the conditions not only for he this afternoon will be daunting. I even struggled to find where the edge of Stuart Webster's box was there, such as the amount of mud when he came out to clear that ball on the edge of the box.
It's interesting to see. Remember last week we were talking about the use of Fidel Richards. Looks like he's dropped back a little bit further than he usually does, and he's got Taxiaris Poslakis just in front of him rather than playing the two solid up front.
They were definitely conservative last week. The Sunshine Georgies had to score goals, so much to play for. Their season online, and they really were conservative. You mentioned it last week too, Liam, not necessarily utilising Richards. And this week, he needs the support. And Takis Vingos has hopefully given it to him with this setup. And both teams tussling for possession. Shin doesn't use his shin, uses his head to clear that. And the Georgies with time through Devlin. Opts to go long. Richards. Well worked down. Ibrahimi. Here's Wilford. And one of the rare balls that have had a bit of punch and made its way over the byline.
Just very hard to judge as well for the players on the wing. They don't really want to plant their foot too much to bring it in and hold it. So I probably see a fair amount of balls just rolling out as players don't take the risk.
And it really is tricky because it looks as though the pitch on the opposite wing does look a bit more firmer. And Leo Shin is through. A great chance here for the Georgies. Shin, has he narrowed the angle for himself? And it's rolled through. The Georgies have got the goal that they so desperately need. And it came through an individual piece of brilliance there from Leo Shin.
And there was almost a bit of a mix-up between he and Apostolikis, but Leo Shin with a marvellous run there. That was a fantastic goal, and that will give a massive boost to Sunshine Georgies. That is a fantastic goal by Leo Shin.
And making use of the conditions too. Dandenong uncertain there whether to attack that ball. They let Leo Shin advance. And I thought for a moment there he would have narrowed the angle down and left his run too late. But it was a delicate chip over Webster to give the Georgies the lead.
And that's the other thing with the conditions as well. Webster's usually so quick off his line and so quick to spread his arms and spread his legs out and make himself as big as possible. But in these conditions, it's too much of a gamble for him to do it. So he was unfortunately caught on his line, and Shin was able to take advantage of it.
And the Thunderstruck kept alive. And would you believe it? Dandenong, that ball whipped in from Jamie Reid. And luckily for Martin John, that sat on a plate. Had there not been that amount of mud on the pitch, that was easily a tap-in on the far post.
Well, the conditions are just not favouring Dandy Thunder whatsoever. They copped it on one side with the goal from Shin, and then the ball should have rolled right through, but Martin John was able to just pick it up after it stopped in the mud.
Well, if the Georgies do the impossible and stay up, they've really got this man to thank with the football in his hand. Martin John was absolutely superb last week. 3 or 4 world-class saves, particularly when Oakley had chances in the first half and early in the second. And they came back, those saves, to assist the Georgies as they scored twice at the death to win their first match in over 10 rounds. Shin temporarily there with the football. Here's Bullock. Whipped in, should be Martin Johns, and is with confidence coming out of his box.
Yeah, he's very good overhead, Martin John.
Constantino, and another chance for the Georgies to rip the two centre-backs apart for Dandenong. Richards can finish from here with vision. Constantino, that would have been a goal.
Yeah, it certainly would have been. The ball went through to Christodoulou there. Fantastic work, just very quick break. And you can see what Richards trying to do, just maybe flick it up for Christodoulou to finish it, but just probably a yard in front of him there.
Christodoulou scored one of the goals of the season for the Georgies early in the year. And great vision there from Fidel Richards. Thought for a moment there would have opted to finish on his right boot and test Webster. A great little chip or cross towards Christodoulou. Just couldn't connect on the volley. That's another good ball into space too. Bullock guiding that over Martin John, no trouble there.
Well, you could see what he was trying to do there. He was maybe just trying to catch him off his line and maybe just try and sneak it under the bar. He probably had a better option, and especially in these conditions, maybe worth driving it and maybe just giving Martin John something to think about.
And speaking of these conditions, Liam, we've played 15 minutes, and despite the heavy pitch, you can tell the tactics of both teams trying to catch each other out on the counter. We saw Liam Shin do that, score the opener, and it nearly happened there with Bullock.
Yeah, look, I think something you're not going to see, which we probably saw a lot more of last week, is playing out from the back. You're not going to see a whole hell of a lot of that. It's way too risky, I think, for most. So just trying to get it into the centre, which is the best bit of the ground. Those two areas between the 18-yard boxes and in the centre circle is it's quite firm underfoot. We had a walk on it earlier, Simon, and it's quite firm underfoot there. So and just be trying to keep it inside.
Hakanana is one of the few times he's intervened in this game. Spots a Georgie's free kick. Douglas Cameron. And he had a busy job last week trying to contain the likes of Diaco and Kasija. Webster.
It's not going to get any easier for him this week with Jamie Reid and Veton Kokari.
Webster goes long. It's a good ball too. Pinpoint. Starosta. Back with Davison. And a risky move. As you see that ball holding up. Oh, yet again, Webster finds the target. Wilford. Dandenong finding that space on the right side. And it's another good ball, and this time unable to connect. Bullock, and a great build-up on the right. They found the space, the ball whipped in.
And as you can
by
see,
Wilford.
Yeah, as you can see there, Simon, the ball's come in, and again, it's the same as what happened with Christodoulou. He's just got a little bit too much, bit of a yard in front of him there. So, unfortunate for Scott Bullock there. It didn't just fall at the right height for him.
John to restart play. Christodoulou kept it alive. Shin with 2 to beat. One there by Rexepi. Was the flag up? The assistant agrees.
And you heard the call, and it was, I think it was pretty clear from there. Shouldn't be a yard or two offside.
Cameron towards Apostolikas. Burakis. And the flag down this time for Apostolikas. Richards is there on the inside. Can he connect? Tipped over by Webster. That is a great save.
And you can see what he was trying to do there. He was trying to get it in towards that back post and just take advantage. But Webster just managed to get the hand to tip it past.
Great intervention there from Webster. Richards would have got there in time on the back post. Christodoulou. And the Georgies, you wouldn't have thought that they've been basement material for the last 10 weeks, considering the way they finished off Oakley last week and the way that they've started this game this afternoon.
Yeah, Simon, they're playing more like they did at the start of the season when they were still in the mix.
And I'm sure you heard the special comments there from Barry Devlin.
Not best pleased with his clearance there, Simon.
Here's Bullock. He's been impressive for Dandenong, reading the play well. Kutsari does well to draw the throw.
Scott Bullock's been in impressive form since he's moved over from Perth Glory, Simon. He's a quality player.
Bullock again. Davison. Here's Osman. What a player he was at South Melbourne. So too the Altona Magic. And the Thunder looking to build up that attack on the right side. A touch too much on it for Starosta to get to.
Yeah, a brave man to let that go through at the keeper in conditions like this.
Cogger. He and Sweeney impressive last week for the Georgies. Screening there in midfield. Rexepi. Kochari again. He wanted the overlap run wide. Slipping there at the crucial moment was Rexepi. And it will be a Georgie's free.
I think a little bit of credit to the players as well at the moment, Simon. With there's been no crazy challenges sliding in. There's usually a good excuse to have a good slide tackle and maybe leave a little bit in there. But both teams have done very well, and we'll see if we can see the same towards the end of the game when everyone's a little bit more desperate. But to their credit, just now they've been fairly well behaved.
They have been fairly well behaved, and also too for the Georgies, Liam, they've really played 15 minutes of consistent football, something they've lacked throughout the whole season. We talked about the word frustration used a lot when commentating the Georgies throughout the year. But the question mark can be, can they do this for the rest of the game? Missed by Korchadi, Sweeney, back with John. And it really is Russian roulette when that ball is played into both boxes.
Get your hearts in your mouth every time you see the ball hitting the ground around the keeper.
If you're just joining our stream, 20 minutes lapsed here at George Andrews Reserve in Dandenong, the Dandenong Thunder. Currently a 0 down against the Sunshine Georgies. The Thunder in the red kit with so much to play for. Thunder looking for a finals berth with only 2 rounds to go. And the Georgies playing for Victorian Premier League survival.
I think Georgie's one of the few teams happy to see that result last night for the Altona Magic. Makes them feel a little bit safer, maybe play a little bit freer as well, Simon.
Well, with the Magic down the question mark, Bentley, Melbourne Knights or the Georgies. For that dreaded drop, corner here for the Thunder. Punched away by John, had to do so, Reed was there. Played across goal. Here's Wilford and Devlin to the rescue. Christodoulou. Was that a foul? No.
I think he just lost his foot in there. The arms were up, but I don't think that was the reason for him falling over.
And Hakanana's a good view of it. Webster, formerly with the Oakley Cannons and the Frankston Pines. I don't know why Burakis there opted to miss that. Thought it was his ball. Richards looking for the overlap, but it wasn't there.
You just see so much of the football's been played in there, Simon. The high ball up and the knockdown seems to be the method of choice for going forward.
Christodoulou through some heavy traffic and he frees up Richards. Richards can lay it off wide. A chance here for Burakis to make it too.
And you can see there, Andrew Burakis, well, he'll want to forget that one pretty quickly, Simon. He was in so much space there and just come off maybe the wrong side of his boot there, Simon.
And Christodoulou looks like such a lightweight out on the pitch, and yet he commanded his way through 2 solid midfielders. And what an assist there to Richards, and on turn on a plate there to finish for Andrew Burakis.
Yeah, as look, Christodoulou, the one thing you can say about him is his balance. It's uncanny how he can manage to stay on his feet. One, in these conditions, and two, while being battered by the heavier bodies of probably more experienced players. He's a fantastic asset for Georgie. He's a brilliant player.
And time will tell whether it's the Georgies playing well or the pitch simply just looking a touch better on the right side. The ball holding up a lot easier for Richards. A solid tackle there from Osman. It's just looking a touch firmer, the pitch on the right side. We'll find out for sure in the second half when the Thunder make use of it. Swept away by Dandenong with time. Devlin, he's had plenty of the football in this opening 25 minutes. Christodoulou. Burakis. Has Shin, the goal scorer. Shin, very creative. This could be a yellow. And the screams of yellow ticket from the Georgie supporters. And referee Hakan Anas.
Yeah, I don't think Scott Bullock will complain about that too much. And as with last week, Craig Sweeney floating them in. And probably, you'd imagine, float it towards the back post for Richards and Apostolikis to have a crack at.
And he was dangerous with the dead ball too last week. We'll see what Sweeney can do. This time cut off by Osman. Wanted Apostolikis. Burakis. Wilford. Pressure there from Richards, but worked out by Davison. Richards not game enough to go in there. You can see why. The Thunder yet again down the right side. Reed. And the correct decision. He's not happy with it, but it definitely came off his boot.
Yeah, it definitely did. He went in to try and get the last gasp cross in there, but just managed to get his shin off it.
.25 minutes lapsed in the first half. And it's a Dandenong Thunder 0, Sunshine Georgies 1. A goal to Leo Shin in the 10th minute. A great individual piece of play and finish. Charged his way through two central midfielders. Last defender narrowed the angle, and it was a delicate chip to find a way around Stuart Webster.
And I've got to admit, the type of player Leo Shin is, you didn't think this was the conditions he would shine in. You know, he likes the quick footwork and to try and squeeze in and around players, and you don't think this type of pitch you can do it in, but he did very well. He just goes to show the level of his skill and his footwork that he managed to keep it and get through all of those players before having the shot and goal.
Sorry, Liam, did you say shinning or shining? Had a bit of a clash there with that accent. Sweeney. Well, left it late for John. It was risky. And if the likes of Nappy Sand or White King are streaming into this broadcast, I tell you what, there's a great sponsorship deal on the cards for you this afternoon. There's plenty of dirty and muddy shirts. I think it would be nearly impossible to read numbers by the time this match is concluded.
I think, Simon, when it gets to the end as well, and there's a lot more desperate challenges go flying in. I'll go from a white strip to a brown strip, mate.
The Thunder with a great chance here, Starosa. Good build-up, just couldn't keep it alive. And good to see the crowd, although small, still building here at George Andrews Reserve. Flicked on, Burakis. Seppi applying the pressure. Georgie's forced wide. Cameron. Christodoulou. You know something's always going to happen when he's got the football.
Yeah, I was thinking of that, Simon, as well. When you've seen how firm the pitch is in the middle as to compared to how wet it is on the sides, as we see Jamie Reid try and create something here. Sorry if I can carry with that. Is that Georgie's, most of their attack is coming through the middle of the pitch, where it is harder and where it is probably a little bit easier to control the ball, whereas probably 90% of the attacks for Dandy Thunder have come down the right-hand side and a little bit more on the left-hand side with Scott Bullock.
Well done, ref, right decision!
And a tussle there between Reid and Sweeney.
Quick decision there by Hakanamas.
That's the closest we did hint about the mud wrestling earlier in the game. That's the closest we've seen to it. Definitely Reid wrestling his opponent there to the ground. Here's Devlin. He's been solid for the Georgies. Covering both sides of the pitch. Was that a handball? No. And the assistant and the referee had a good view of that. And Apostolikis.
Yeah, a bit of a nudge there, Simon. Just as he was going for the spectacular clearance.
And frustrating too, because he was on the break. Combining well with Burakis on the inside. Osman read it.
Probably
Saw what Richards was doing.
Probably the wrong pass there, Simon. Christodoulou looked like he was about to go into acres of space.
The Thunder with a rare build up along the left side. And there you see why. The pitch playing its tricks. And Shin to clear. You just heard one of the Georgie supporters there. I wonder if it got picked up on the special effects mic. I wonder if the gods are on our side, because they really have had the luck of the draw with the bounce of the ball. Martin John will be the first to say that when just after the Georgie scored, an opportunity there for Reid on the back post to finish, and the ball didn't sit for him.
Yeah, that's probably 4 or 5 times now. The conditions have really come into play and actually affected where the ball is, and all of those times have went in the favour of Sunshine Georges.
And despite the conditions, it really has been an entertaining game. End-to-end football. We've only got the one goal. But the players really making the most of it. Apostolikas cutting it in. Devlin, one of the best players for my liking this afternoon. Shin. So to that man, Shin. What about the control? He wanted Richards. Webster will need to clear. Devlin.
Won everything in the air, Devlin. Won absolutely everything in the air.
And covering all sides as well. I know he's playing that right back position, but he's been everywhere. Centre, left, everywhere there for Devlin. Davison. And the Thunder using that right side yet again. Shin, this will need to be careful, and a perfect tackle executed there by Rexepi. That could have gone either way. Executed that with perfection. Sweeney. Played into space too. Christodoulou should advance. I thought Christodoulou there could have worked his way through midfield. He's done it plenty of times this afternoon. Played it unselfish, and the Thunder will clear. And they're playing with confidence, the Georgies, but you feel the likes of Christodoulou once or twice could have backed his talent and judgment a bit more and just done the job solo through midfield. But Shin advances, cleared by Osman, and that will be a fault into the tennis court.
I think as well there, credit to, I think that was Rexepi and Apostolikas there. It's probably the first time the conditions have seen someone, our two players, really come together and possibly get hurt, but both of them got up, pat in the back and moved on. You've seen that many a time where that started a bit of bad feeling.
Shin finds Christodoulou. Down the line, and Kochari failed. Yet again, Devlin needs to be careful. Those special comments. Hakan Anas won't be too impressed. Bullock. For a moment there, Reid thought he was offside. Devlin, that sums up his performance this afternoon.
He's been fantastic, Simon, he really has. He's been absolutely solid, and he has been everywhere.
And from one right back to a left full back, 2 quality pieces defending there. Shin, he also too features in the best for the Georgies. And we just got a bit of a mud shower there, Liam.
Yeah, we did. Ben Cogger not happy with the field there, and almost covered us in the camera in a bit of mud.
You better change those clothes for your date tonight. Davidson. Here's Rexepi. And he's got options in the box too. The ball isn't precise, however. Thunder will start it again. Kochari. This looks promising. John. And thought there for a free header. Reid was lurking. Sent back in, Bullock. Martin John held it well. Experience showing.
Yeah, it was. It was good work at the start there, and it was just put away by Baracus. And then the cross from Bullock was dealt with quite easily by John.
Baracus, and a chance here for the Georgies to open up the Thunder again, but the red shirts are advancing. Ramin, cleared by Osman. A few vital touches from him. And Cogger did all the hard work. That touch let him down.
Yeah, that last touch there was just too much for him. I think what you were saying as well about the end-to-end game, on a pitch like this, you can't play conservatively. You can't just pass the ball around. You actually have to make something happen, because the longer you keep it in your back half and pass it around, the more likely you are to either slip or get it caught in the mud. So it's probably one positive about a pitch like this, Simon.
Yeah, the conditions coupled with the stakes, there's no doubt about it, Liam. The Georgies, their season comes down to their final 2 games. It's as simple as that. And the Thunder, despite what happens with the Northcote verdict, need to win their games if they're to be playing finals football. Osman, not out of danger yet, the Thunder. Shin, deflected. And Christodoulou, haven't seen a mistake from him until now. Just under 10 minutes remaining in this first half. It's the Sunshine Georgies, the visitors in the white kit, away kit, leading the host at Dandenong Thunder by a goal to 0. Solid challenge from Cameron. Home supporters there on the outer wing, screaming for obstruction. Just having a look at the Georgies bench. Good to see an old son back, Trent Waterson, on the substitutes bench, and he's carrying an injury, back from South Melbourne. Wonder if he'll feature in Taki Zvingzos plans this afternoon, and this could be dangerous too for Douglas Cameron, and the second yellow card for the afternoon to match Scott Bullock's for Dandenong.
Forgive me for stepping on your toes here, Simon, but he was later than a metro train, my friend.
That doesn't stop at all stations either. That was extremely late. Nearly as late as when this game was going to kick off. Such was the last minute notice. And a great chance here for the Thunder to square the ledger as we get closer to half time. Ball whipped in. Georgie's not out of trouble yet. Laid off, fired in, and the deflection fired in there by Davidson. And did it come off Reed?
Yeah, I think he's probably got himself in the way. Martin Johns, you can see, they probably had that covered anyway. But definitely worth the shot. And Davidson is so dangerous from outside the box. He scored many a goal like that.
Might have to repeat what a few of the Georgie supporters below us said. The gods might be looking down. You've seen those deflected the other way and go into the back of the old onion bag plenty of times. And the deflection that Martin John was looking for going the opposite way. Apostolikas, the height prevailing there from Rixepi. Devlin playing it out to safety. Barnson, formerly of Richmond. He's been solid for Dandenong too. Kuchari. Shin applying the pressure on Bullock.
Good football here from Thunder, keeping the ball well up front. Something they haven't done much of.
Playing short, one-touch football. Plenty of passes in this build-up. As you mentioned, Liam, can it come off for the Thunder? And Shin, surprise, surprise, he and Devlin in everything this afternoon. Danger here for John, and the free header, Reed.
It's just one of those headers It's a bit of a looping header, as you can see. Just can't get any power on it. He just manages to connect to it, but going to be very, very difficult to get that on target and actually beat someone, especially like Martin John.
Yeah, would have done a lot to test John, but I suppose the danger there for the Georgies. The free header, no pressure or marking. John. Rexepi. Could have been fouled after that. Will the referee bring it back, and it's the correct call?
Yeah,
Hakan Anas, smart refereeing.
Yeah, it definitely was. He tried to let it go for the advantage, but there's no doubt that was a late challenge. And a fairly dangerous position now for Dandy Thunder. We've seen them cause a lot of problems over the season with this type of free kick.
Well, they had one. They had a set piece only a moment ago from this position. Can they get it right this time?
Be interesting to see if they go for more height this time than they have done previously. They've been putting them in around about waist height, maybe trying to use the conditions.
Ibrahimi sends it in, John.
As you can see, they're just too close to Martin John. You need to get them at the back post if you're going to try and beat him there. But you put the ball straight to him and he'll gobble that up nicely.
I know it's bread and butter for a goalkeeper holding those, but he's reading them so well and with confidence too. Cleared by Sweeney. Here's Ramin. Richards, he's been quiet for the Georgies, which is a good sign. How often have they relied on their captain all season? Charging through, Wilford. And it will be a Georgie's throw.
Martin John, I don't know if you can hear there, just very unhappy with how quick the ball's coming back in. That first 20-25 minutes, the ball was all over Stuart Webster's goal, and now they just basically can't get it out, Simon. Every time they get it to about the halfway line, it's coming back in, and Thunder seem to have a lot more of the possession.
It's going to be interesting in the second half. Definitely a lot harder to play the ball in the Georgies half than it is in the Thunder. Unable to connect. Ibrahimi. Easy pickings there for John. John. And Ramin thought about it. Probably one of the only downsides in his game, Martin John, his clearances do let him down occasionally.
Yeah, he's one of the best shot stoppers and one of the best at judging crosses in the Atlantic Victorian Premier League. But probably not his distribution as his strong point.
Five minutes and counting in this half. Rexepi wants the cross, and the flag is up. The goal won't count, and it was an early call from the assistant.
Yeah, it was. As you can see there, the ball, I think from our angle, as hard as it is to see, he probably thought it was out. But I think from here in this type of pitch, I'm willing to put my faith in the assistant referee over there, who was nice and close.
And there's a bird's eye view of just how heavy this pitch is. Check out the assistant referee running up and down that touchline all afternoon. And it's more like climbing Mount Everest than it is walking on a football pitch.
I think he needs a medal if he can stay on his feet for 90 minutes on that type of surface.
I'll tell you what, this pitch is definitely more slippery than the ice skating rink I visited at Docklands 2 weeks ago, Liam. Remarkable. It's really remarkable, the quality of the skills we're seeing, considering the conditions and how close this game was to being forfeited.
It certainly is. I mean, like I say, we were out there before the game and didn't think it was going to go ahead. But glad it did, because it's turned out to be a cracker match.
And credit to the Georgies too. They've really adapted to the conditions well. Thunder played in similar conditions to this 2 weeks ago when the lights, or the Thunder, did go out, whichever way you want to look at it, here at George Andrews Reserve. Richards, a great chance to make it 2 on the turn. Apostolikas! Did Webster get a touch on that?
Nah, I don't think he did. Hakan Anas has given it as a goal kick. What did you see there? The ball's just come in and he's probably miscontrolled it the first time, but just managed to get an extra shot off. So he's got the shot off there, but just a little bit, leaning back a little bit too much.
There won't be much stoppage time in this half. Webster will be relieved. That ball inches over the bar. Devlin again. Barnson. Good control here from Reed. Through Shin too. Great assist to Davison. And once again, the Thunder will reprogram down this right side. Osman doesn't go to plan. Touched by Richards, but all that hard work undone. Budakis there, not found on the counter. Cameron. They're not out of trouble yet, the Georgies. This pitch playing tricks. And we saw that with that ball whipped in by Bullock. Hitting a big patch of mud that influenced the cross.
Probably tired legs just there after that quick passage of play. There wasn't too many options in there, so it was more of a hopeful cross than anything else, Simon.
John. Flick by Ramin. Apostolikas. Not there on the left side. And Barnson. Well, I haven't seen many mistakes from him. He had all the time in the world to deal with that.
I don't know if you heard, but Webster was making it very clear to Barnson that he didn't want the ball in these conditions.
Cameron needed to be careful there with the back pass, and it's on now for Dandenong. Reed could have advanced further for my liking.
He's going to need a better shot than that to beat Martin John.
But once again, really difficult to dribble too. It's not as easy as it looks out there in Reed's defence. Shin can finish from here. It found side netting.
You can see there, he's just turned on it, and he's just taking a bit of time there, managed to buy himself a couple of yards. And I think had that been a couple of inches to the left, I think Webster could have done anything about that. That would have been in, and a second goal. So surprised the amount of space Dandenong gave. They've seen for themselves how lethal he is on his left foot with that first goal. Only needed a yard or two, and he wasn't far off the mark. Davison. Maybe winning himself there. In fact, it was an illegal infringement from Cogger on Jamie Reed. Bit of a nudge in the back there, Simon. You think it'll probably be one last flurry before the half-time whistle goes?
It will be. We're into stoppage time in this first half. The Georgies leading the Thunder by a goal to nil. Whipped in, cleared by Budakis. Another opportunity here for Barnson. And he wanted the services of Kuchari. The Georgies midfield doing its job. Was that kept alive by Barnson? It will be a corner. He did keep it alive off the boot of Cameron.
And Cameron's just claiming there that the ball was already out by the time it hit him. But the corner has been given, and another flurry before the half-time whistle.
It definitely wasn't the same assistant from the England-Germany match, that's for sure, as the corner comes in. Bullock sending it back in. A great chance here for the Thunder. Ibiimi. Vision there from Wilford. Looking for the free header. Osman roaming down. And the Georgies doing their job. Apostolikas won't have the pace. He needs the services of Shin and should lay it off now. Shin. Apostolikas is there. So too Richards on the inside. Whipped in. Apostolikas, his height prevails. Christodoulou laid it off. Another opportunity there to back his confidence and finish on his left boot. He didn't, but that concludes the first half here at George Andrews Reserve, and the Sunshine Georgies playing for their season have got the lead that they so richly deserve. A goal to Leo Shin in the 10th minute, the difference, and it's a lead that they thoroughly deserve, Liam.
Yeah, they really do. They've been probably, other than that last 10 minutes of the first half, they would be the side that was very much on top, and they really do deserve to be to go into the sheds at half time.
And the pitch playing tricks, the Georgies have had a bit of luck, but when you're playing good football, the luck's obviously going to fall your way.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Simon. They really just want to capitalise on any little bit of luck they can get, so they'll be very happy to go in with that, and they've got a really big challenge ahead of them in the second half.
They certainly do have a challenge on their hands to keep their season alive, the Georgies. And as for the Thunder, not only to get back into this contest, but keep their dreams of playing finals football alive. We'll be back here with all the action from the second half in just over 10 minutes.
4 or 5 bits of luck there, Simon, between the way the goal went in and a couple of the crosses that just fell perfectly from Martin John. I think they had a fair bit of luck, but it doesn't mean they didn't deserve to be in front. And it's going to be a hell of a challenge for them in this second half, though, because you know Thunder will be coming at them with everything.
And some of those misses from Leo Shin and also Apostolikas late in the first half. It'd be interesting to see if they come back and haunt the Georgies. Plenty of talent in this Thunder squad. This game not over by a long shot. And it's Vetan Kochadi to kick off proceedings in this second half. The Thunder kicking from left to right of your screen. Budakis. Cut off by Rexepi. And a really important game in the context of not only the season, but also this round's results too, Liam.
Yeah, it really is. When you look at the other matches, well, the matches have already been played, as we mentioned. Richmond beating Altona 4-2 at Kevin Bartlett Reserve. And South Melbourne, again, taking advantage of Oakley and winning 1-0. So Oakley, and you got to think, you got to feel sorry for them in a sense, with the likes of Nick Kalmar and Cameron Watson now headed up to the A-League. That's two very important players for them. And you think that could be making a difference to their team.
And a really important result for South Melbourne, not only taking advantage of a weakened Oakley team, but the fact that is not a good result for the Thunder if they're looking to play finals football.
Nah, they'll be looking for those 2 or 3 teams at the top and a couple maybe at the bottom to take results over that. Those mid-place teams to try and get an advantage for themselves.
Ramin combining with Cameron to clear. Wilford. Cut across. Sweeney. Through traffic. Short to Richards. And finds some space. Not for long on the inside. Starosta. Rexepi been busy in midfield. That screening position for the Thunder all afternoon. Bullock. And Shin making his life difficult, but it's kept alive. Kochadi thought he was going to get there, but a chance to finish and it's charged down. To be Sweeney, in fact, it was Cogger. And that would have been one of the contenders had that connected for goal of the year, but it's only found the canteen.
Spectacular attempt there. Unfortunately, the finish wasn't there to match the style of the attempt. As you can see there, quick ball put in from Starosta.
John. Restarts for the Georgies. And it's early days in this second half, but the Thunder starting promisingly. Starosta thought about finding Reed up front, short to Kochadi rather. Wilford, this is danger signs for John, but it's only found the roof of the netting.
It wasn't too far away, but I think the fact that the ball went straight into that really, really heavy patch in front of the dugout, it just didn't really give him the confidence. And just off your picture there, Ibrahimi, I think changing the boots possibly.
Cameron It will be a Georgie's throat. Fetan Kochari not happy. Both the assistant and the referee in stern agreement. Cogger down the line, and what a good ball it is. In fact, just when I thought it was, the ball not kept alive, and it's really difficult to tell. That much mud over the line. Hustle there by Devlin, and was being held. Kochari, some frustration creeping into his game.
Yeah, it is. He's that type of player. Look, he's a strong player. When he gets out-muscled, he doesn't like it. And he'll just try and make sure he stamps his authority on the contest, if nothing else.
And not happy with Hakan Anas' previous decision. He took his frustration out there on Barry Devlin. Cogger. Flicked on by Richards. Apostolikas won't get there. Webster. Kept alive just by Starosta. Oh, not for long.
And they almost finally got a break of the ball with the conditions. Not just getting caught under his feet.
Georgies. And it's early days in the second half. But a positive sign for the Georgies. They've been under the pump with the ball a lot of the time in their own half, but they are looking organised. And a chance here on the turn. A great chance for the Thunder. There's the leveller. Scott Bullock.
As you can see there, change of possession and a good flick through, and Bullock just found himself a yard, and not too dissimilar finish to Leo Shins from roughly the same angle. And it's back in level terms here, Simon, and it's probably deserved.
All square here at George Andrews Reserve, 1-1, and one of the rare times where Dandenong finished a piece of play with a cross. So many crosses they looked for in the first half, couldn't find their target. This time it did, and Bullock there free on the left post. He's finished. And it's game on again at George Andrews Reserve. Apostolikas through is Ramin, through Starosta. Great defending there, Wilford. Sheer height and strength. Now he fell over there and has conceded the corner.
Look, I think that was probably a foul there on Wilford, but I think the massive 9.5 dive he went for after it might have...
And just off the bar. What about that effort from Burakis?
As you can see there, straight from it. Goes in between one and then tries to flick it across. I'm not sure if that was a mistimed cross or not, Simon, but certainly had Stuart Webster's heart in his mouth.
Whether it be a shot or a cross, I'm sure it'll be claimed by Burakis as an intended shot. What an entertaining opening 10 minutes we've had in this second half. 55 minutes played. The Georgies holding the lead since the 10th minute mark of this contest, and it's been cancelled out by the Thunder 45 minutes later. And after 55 minutes, it's game back on here at George Andrews Reserve. Scores locked at 1-1.
Well, I got to admit, Simon, put my cards on the table. When I seen the pitch today, I didn't think we'd be in for a very good game. I thought more of a scrap, but it's turned out to be a fairly entertaining affair.
One of the better games, we were mentioning this off air, that we've seen for the season, despite the conditions, and the players need to be commended. Swept by Sweeney. Shin under pressure and lost it. Coming in Burakis. Bullock. Shin, and only Richards up front. This is beginning to remind me a bit of the setup and the formation last week for the Georgies. Richards just playing as a lone man up front with no support, and his services were far better utilised in midfield. Needing to be careful here, Starosta. And this will be interesting. There was some tussling happening there between Ramin and Starosta. We'll see what the replay indicates.
And bit of just a shove off the ball there. Just missed out on that a little bit. So I'm not too sure what's happened there. Referee just having a chat to them.
Now Hakan Anas having a good chat to both players. It will be Starosta to take this set piece, not Ibrahimi. Starosta. Reed. Brought down. Not much in it as play continues. Whipped in again, another chance for a free header. Shin. And the Georgies just dropping a notch, the Thunder picking up their game.
Yeah, the Thunder are now playing more like the team that had won so many games in a trot.
Rexepi, he's been faultless this afternoon for the Thunder and hitting that mud patch again. Frustration there for Starosta. Kochari. And this could be a worthwhile claim for a penalty. Ramin brought Kochari down. Hakan Anas had a good view of it.
And you can see there, he's just skipped past them. I don't know, I've seen him given for more, seen him given for less, as they say, Simon. He has probably taken him down, but I don't think there's too much intention of it.
Now Hakan Anas, the referee, had a good view of it. I have, from the naked eye, I have seen those given. Ramin can count himself lucky, bringing Kochari down. Starosta. Back with Rexepi. Cut off by Douglas. Ramin. Christodoulou. Playing it down the line. Apostolikas making ground. Osman will combine with Wilford. Danger cleared for the Thunder. 60 minutes. Just lapse here at George Andrews Reserve. If you're just joining our streaming, scores locked at 1-1 between the Dandenong Thunder and the Sunshine Georgies. Dandenong Thunder in their home red kit. Seeing Stuart Munro, the manager, on the sidelines, just controlling proceedings. Now Hakan Anas there. Will be a turnover. Ramin must have had his foot over the line.
No, I think he's what he said there. It was about 7 or 8 yards in front of where it actually went out.
And a substitute on the verge of being made for the Thunder. Maybe it'll be the Georgies to do it first. It looks as though it's James Blackburn coming on and Sean Ramin coming off. And Ramin coming off. Warm applause from the travelling supporters. So it's James Blackburn coming on. And Sean Ramin coming off for the Georgies as play continues. John had his name written all over that.
Yeah, he's a strong keeper. He doesn't mind taking a challenge.
Really knows his limits, Martin John, when in the air or on the ground. Knows when to stay on his line versus going for it. And no doubt Apostolikas. Don't know what he's frustrated about. Certainly timed that run a second too early.
Yeah, it's definitely offside there.
Webster. Richards. Burakis. Get a hand on that. The crowd thought so. Wilford making that look easy. Rexepi. Osman. Cut off by Richards, and now Richards can combine with the new substitute Blackburn. And the wrong option you felt there from James Blackburn.
Yeah, if he was going to play that ball, it had to be a little bit in the air, on just maybe the outside of the boot.
And he had Richards wide too. Cameron. And this time, Blackburn's through. Can he redeem himself? However, nothing presenting itself in the box. He has drawn the throw, however, there, Blackburn.
Good covering work there by Rexepi.
Shin already got his name on the scorer sheet. Can he find an assist for a Georgie second? Shin, the most convincing across is the mud and the pressure prevailing. And the Thunder can strike on the counter. Cameron in a tussle with Cocciardi. And a good tussle it's been all afternoon. Cocciardi through Cameron. But not through Burakis.
He done all the hard work there, Cocciardi.
See the pitch playing its tricks. Rexepi with some space on the inside. Rexepi cut off by Sweeney. Touch too heavy for Richards, but it might fall in the Georgie's favour. Blackburn. And nothing really presenting itself for the Georgies in this second half up front.
Nah, you just think Apostolikas seems to be sitting a little bit deeper as well, and it's really not helping them.
Apostolikas completely noted there. Liam Apostolikas and also Richards playing the two forward role in the first half, and it was paying dividends for the Georgies. And now they've only got the sole man up front. Shin. Once again the pitch. Denying the pass hitting the target. And now the Thunder are through some space here. The ball will sit for Starosta. And there's plenty of red shirts as targets too. Flying over, but a hand in the back there from Bullock.
Yeah, I think this is about the time as well. This heavy pitch really takes a toll on the legs. You'll probably see quite a few changes coming shortly. It's such a muddy pitch, and having to keep your balance a lot more than usual definitely takes a toll on the legs after maybe an hour or so on a pitch like this.
There's no doubt this is taxing for the Georgies. They're sitting on goal difference. Outside of the zone, relegation zone, the Georgies. And the Thunder in 7th position, and so much to play for, particularly with South Melbourne getting that vital 3 points over their rivals, the Oakley Cannons, away last night at Jack Edwards Reserve. Shin, he, Devlin, Rexepi have been brilliant this afternoon. Rexepi for the Thunder. Apostolikas did well on the turn, found the space, and covering there, Davidson, but it will be a Georgie's corner.
That's a very good outcome there for the Georgies. And they're maybe expecting just to maybe get it down to the corner with Apostolikas in possession, or even just out for a throw-in. Would have been very positive for them, but get the lucky bounce in the corner.
And Georgie's manager, Takis Vingos, will be bleeding. Doesn't have the services of Peter Katsupius. The pace would have suited his game. Plenty of balls caught on the counter
I'm just seeing
this afternoon, but doesn't have his services at hand. Corner played short. Burakis. This needs to be precise. Devlin.
We're just seeing off camera there, Simon, that Leo Shin has just indicated to the bench that he is remarkably tired and really needs to come off sometime soon. And quite understandably, the minute he's done a power of running.
No doubt he and Devlin, two of the Georgies' best. Rexepi. And also that man Osman too, been excellent for the Thunder this afternoon. Well, the moment I
You
blow
cursed
Levin
them.
Osmond's trumpet, I put a curse. A rare mistake for him this afternoon, conceding a corner. Miscommunication there between him and Webster. It's played quickly. Christodoulou, the Georgies, so desperately need a second, and it's sailed across the face of goal with a sea of players. What went wrong there?
And you can see they went for the quick one out to Christodoulou. Again, he didn't get too much height on it, and they went for the flick, but probably just not enough on it. As a substitute here for Thunder. As we see Ibrahimi come off. Neat flick on.
And it's Chris Koussis coming on for the Thunder. Sorry for the late notice. Chris Koussis, another player to change his number quite late. So Chris Koussis coming on for Ibrahimi. Sweeney. And that man, Koussis, getting his first touch. Christodoulou. And a bit fancy there, squaring that ball. And a touch of luck there for the Georgies. Christodoulou would have blushes there. Not enough punch squaring that ball. Here's a chance to redeem himself. Shin. Completely fatigued and still giving it his all. The ball coming in, Apostolikos. Cut off by Webster. And Taki Zvingos looking at again in his bench, and you feel Shin might come off as you indicated, but as play continues for the Thunder, Kochari, he's created some space for himself. Brought down again. Needing to be careful. There's Sweeney.
I think Cogger did very well there just to get his body in between Kochari and the ball.
Apostolikos. Here's Richards. And where did that ball go to? Fidel Richards, the star player that he is, not having a good afternoon. And Cameron looking to dent our camera. Starosta, miscued by Devlin. Here's Bullock. Cameron, well, he and John talking and wedged in between Kochari. That would have been interesting.
Yeah, nice and calm there, Douglas Cameron. Kochari was just waiting there, hoping he didn't notice him.
Stolen away, that's better by Richards. Blackburn needs to make the most of this. And Apostolikos was off. A fine line in that, Liam.
Well, Apostolikos was offside. He didn't eventually get the ball, but you got to think, in my opinion, he did get involved in active play. It looked like the ball was going to him. He dragged the defender there. He moved the play, moved the passage of play by being there. So I think by the definition he was involved in active play.
Well, the visitor supporters screaming he didn't go for the ball, but I agree. That would have been the difference for the flag going up. Wilford. And now Richards. Once again on the counter, Blackburn. The flick on. They can't afford errors like that, the Georgies, to find a second and keep their season alive.
And look, Blackburn's getting into the right positions. His distribution's probably not quite what they were hoping, but he's definitely been there. He's been in amongst it since he came on.
His distribution needs to be perfect in timing those runs with Apostolikas. We've seen twice where Apostolikas just left too early. Christodoulou lunging. Barnson combining with Koussis. The Thunder with the transfer. And this is where they've preferred their build-up along this ride all afternoon. They scored with a similar build-up, but Shin there to spoil the party. Absolutely brilliant for the Georgies this afternoon, Leo Shin. And now, can Apostolikas time his run, but the distribution from Shin. The combination there between he and Apostolikas.
And you can just sense it's getting to that desperate stage. Box to box for the last 5 minutes.
Just under 20 minutes remaining in what has been an intriguing contest in terrible conditions. The standard of play has been remarkable. I so too thought what game we'd have on our hands here, considering the standards of this pitch. But it has delivered one of the games of the year, despite the 1-1 scoreline. It's had everything. And another infringement as Andrew Nabbit prepares to walk up. Takis Vingos making his second substitution.
You think it'll be Shin that'll make way?
And it's Apostolikas coming off. Apostolikas not happy.
Well, he's not happy, and off camera, Shin looks devastated. The hands went up and the mouth opened with the jaw dropping. I think he was expecting to come off after indicating he was very tired.
Well, one man that has deserved his bottle of Lucozade and a warm Chavapi roll is Leo Shin after this afternoon's game. The Thunder. They've either trailed or been level all afternoon. About to mention, can they hit the lead for the first time, but they won't for long.
Nabbit we've seen on several occasions this season. He's a very busy player when he comes on.
Tex Apostolikas coming off. Christodoulou. Nabbit, speaking of the new substitute. Closely checked there by Barnson. And the defender prevails for the Thunder. Liam with just over 15 minutes remaining. The score's locked at 1-1, but it's not the preferred result for either team.
Nah, I think you're going to see a bit of a hectic last 15 minutes with both teams just, to put it simply, needing a win. It really has to, 3 points has to go somewhere. And I don't know who I'd put my money on at the moment, Simon. It's just such an even contest.
It has been an even contest, and both Dandenong will not want to rely on other teams to decide their finals fate, nor the Georgies for the relegation stakes. Altona are there, and they don't want to join them. It's going to be a really close call. The Knights aren't safe yet, nor are Bentley or the Georgies. It's going to go down to the final day. And now, the Georgies, can they make it too? Barakis. Georgies with plenty to play for. Burakis decides to pull the trigger, and Rexepi will have a bruise. And the Thunder Looking to another substitution as play continues. The ball whipped in, cleared by Levan Osman. And Rexepi. And not much pressure being placed by the Georgies. They had the opportunity there. The ball was deep. The Thunder eventually get themselves out of trouble, and they can really hit on the counter. Starosta. Will get there again, circled by a sea of white shirts. One of them, Cameron, has been brilliant on that left side. Burakis. On the turn, Nabbit. And out muscling his opponent well and legally, Wilford. Burakis again. Blackburn through Osman. Has Nabbit in the box. Can he find him? And his cross cleared, but it will be a Georgie's corner.
As we see another substitution here. It's time for the Thunder. Avrim Abdullahi coming on for Vetin Korchari.
Abdullahi coming on, the fresh set of forward legs. And with 15 minutes to play, obviously Stuart Munro's playing his cards.
You can hear the George Cross fans below begging for Leo Shin to stay on for another 5 or 10 minutes. That's how influential he has been. But I don't think the poor guy's got anything left in the tank.
Definitely best player on the ground this afternoon, Leo Shin, is Burakis' corner. And so too Shane Rexepi for the Thunder. Been brilliant this afternoon. Abdullah with the fresh legs. Richards. And the Georgies press forward Burakis. And they've done this well. It's just the finish. And Burakis surely fouling his opponent. A certain free kick there for the Thunder.
Yeah, I don't think there's any argument about that. I think Burakis maybe overestimated his own speed in trying to get past Davidson, who's fleet of foot himself.
Webster. And Nabbit there had more time. He's frustrated there. He and Richards having a chat. As time ticks down. This game, what a finish it holds. Scores locked at 1-1. But both the Thunder and the Georgies searching for that all-important goal. The Georgies left their run until the last minute late. Webster was a great strike there by Shin, but Webster will get there to mop up. Leo Shin, just when we thought he's spent, he comes out with that.
I don't know how that guy's got anything left in his legs. The amount of running he's done on such a heavy pitch, he's been absolutely outstanding. And you just feel he would have had a fresh legs. He'd have been able to run a little bit more and maybe take the shot from on the edge of the 18. But I think he's just got to that point where he just wants to get rid of the ball and maybe try the shot from the distance.
Burakis. Nabbit. And the strength there of Barnson. Webster is finding his spot. Goal kicks need to be precise in these conditions.
Referee just ensuring the substitutes have bibs on.
Sweeney. Well, this could come back and haunt the Georgies. He'll be a relieved man there, Craig Sweeney. Hasn't done much wrong this afternoon. Barnson. Exactly 10 minutes of ordinary time left in this contest. Christodoulou. Luckily, the foot wasn't up. Reed. It's been quieter for Dandenong this half, but this time he's through. Reed to finish, stopped by John. And he too's been quiet, Martin John, but called on when needed.
And just as you said, he's been quiet. He nips inside, cuts onto the right-hand side, gives himself a bit of a yard, and with no back lift, manages to produce a cracking shot and force the stop out of Martin John.
The Thunder. Can they hit the lead for the first time this afternoon? A free header. Didn't find its mark. And it was a defender roaming down, Noel Barnson. And what an intriguing finale this will be. Just under 10 minutes remaining. We hope you're enjoying the coverage of this round 21 Atlantic Premier League match between the Dandenong Thunder and the Sunshine Georgies, whether it be online or through the Atlantic Premier League's Facebook page. And you can keep track of not only this game, but all scores throughout the Victorian, or Atlantic Premier League rather. And what an intriguing finale this season is coming to. Spots hot for a final five finish, and 3 or 4 clubs trying to fend off relegation into Division 1.
And those matches coming up for the rest of the round 21 of the Atlantic Victorian Premier League. Tomorrow is Hume City hosting Bentley Greens. Again, a finals contender and a relegation contender. And then Melbourne Knights and Northcote City, again the same deal. And then Heidelberg and Green Gully. So everything to play for. There's not anyone who's all that safe with where they want to be, other than probably Richmond being happy at the top of the ladder.
And Heidelberg and Green Gully, we're talking about what an intriguing finale it's been. Your money could have been on either of those clubs going down by about round 8 or 9. It's just amazing how they've been able to turn their seasons around. George Katsakis and also Paul Harris, respectively.
And I think you could have probably thrown Dandy Thunder into that mix at the start of the season as well. Thunder looked horrendous at the start of the season, if we're being brutally honest. But now they're putting themselves in finals contention.
Abdullah. Cameron closely checking. Shin. They're acting as a sweeper. He's been remarkable this afternoon. As Shin goes back into that left back position. Devlin wins the header. Christodoulou. And not much punch on his clearances there, Christodoulou. He's been caught out once or twice. And the Georgies giving up possession too easily, and luckily for Martin John, Scott Bullock's shot not on target.
And Bullock convinced that was a corner. Don't know about that myself, but referee very confident that was a goal kick.
John slipped, but the ball found its target. And the Thunder yet again. That transfer on the right side. Starosta. And it's a good ball in. A chance here to finish on the volley. Making a meal of it, Reed.
And I think he's given the goal kick. The assistant has flagged for the goal kick, and there's maybe a heart and mouth second there for some of the Georgies fans, thinking that may have been a penalty. But I think Jamie Reid politely just making a hash of that one.
Credit to the Thunder. The luck that deserted them in the first half. They were competitive. The Georgies had the lead. They found a way back in this contest. And are still pressing for a late winner. 5 minutes remaining at George Andrews Reserve. The Dandenong Thunder and the Sunshine Georgies. Scores locked at 1 apiece. Webster will need to be careful clearing this in a sea of mud. And played down the line and kept alive. Cameron should get there. Was he fouled? And the assistant had a good look at that.
And I think Douglas Cameron having a bit of fun with the fans down there. He's possibly going to get a hand to wipe his hands and shirt after being thrown right into that big brown pile of mud.
The Georgies this time press forward. Nabbit won't be impressed with some of his efforts since coming on as a substitute. Was really good last week against Oakley. Wilford. And Hakanana's just reminding Davidson where the foul occurred. Wilford. X hits the spot. Just under 5 minutes remaining, maybe a minute or two of stoppage time. Absolute max. All 3 points on the line. It's up to whether the Georgies or the Thunder, who wants it the most. And although a point will serve the cause, it's just not enough. Both teams will finish this contest with all guns rolling, and Bullock intercepting but firing wide.
And see there, as I think Hughes lost the ball in the water, it just fell nicely for Bullock, and off one step took the shot, just wide.
John. Cut up by Rexepi. And ironically, he and Leo Shin in that piece of play, clearly the two best players on the ground. And now Nabbit wanted to create some space on the inside and had the runners there early, Liam.
And look, you can tell the difference. Nabbit's just been on the park, he's just finding his way around in these conditions. But unfortunately, he hasn't quite mastered it, as the ball does go out of play.
Both teams out, throwing everything into attack. No more than 4 or 5 minutes remaining in this contest. Nabbit fouled. Been plenty of pushing and niggling in this second half. Wilfred the culprit this time for the Thunder. Shin thought about it, but he really does look spent. Budakis just getting some instructions from his manager, Takis Vingos. Budakis lays it off to Shin and slicing that one into no man's land.
And look, Craig Sweeney looking a bit frustrated there, but you can see the sense in someone as good as Leo Shin, who's having such a good game when he's in 20 yards of space. You know, you want to give him the ball and think he might create something.
And we're not privy to the conversation there between Budakis and the manager, Takis Vingos. But Budakis looked as though he wanted to send that ball deep into the box. Abided by the manager's instructions, laying it off to Shin, and didn't pay dividends. You can see the desperation, both teams just fighting for every throw, possession. The stakes are so high as we creep into this final 3 minutes. Worked forward by Barnson and creating that space read, but what has occurred here? The flag up for offside.
I think Craig Sweeney knew that one. He had the hand up the whole time, and as soon as the ball got through, it was called.
And Stuart Munro knew it too. Not much debate from the Scotsman. And now Nabbit finds himself free. Blackburn's in the box. And it's a good ball, but it finds the side netting. Rather the roof of the netting.
I think they might be a little bit upset with that delivery. Again, Nabbit hasn't probably done what they'd expect him to do when he comes on.
It was quite deceiving there. Thought that cross was going to find the target. Apologies, we are blinded by the sun. And disappointing indeed, because Blackburn had the height there to finish on the back post. Christodoulou. That would have been an effort from that distance. Budakis needs to be pinpoint. Richards. What about that for control?
Good footwork by Richards.
Shin. Richards hasn't had much of the football this half. Can he weave his influence here? Don't know about that for a pass. Budakis on the turn. Budakis side netting. Shin thought it was in. So too did Tucky's Vingos, the manager, on the sidelines.
And Richards' blush is probably spared there with that drive, finding its way to Barakis, and Barakis maybe just half a yard outside the right-hand post. So close.
And that luck there, the Georgies. Fidel Richards clearly going for a shot. The shot was miscued. Found Budakis, and on the turn, so close to finishing. And no more than a minute or two left. Nabbit really needs to get this right. Blackburn presenting himself in the box. Richards is there. Nabbit wanted him, but once again, Shane Rexepi, and it's a fine line between he and Leo Shin for man of the match honours. Cutting that off. Only person who spotted where that ball was going, Shane Rexepi.
Douglas Cameron, fantastic work there. If it got past him, Jamie Reid, he was in.
Rexepi.
And what Rexepi can do, Leo Shin can do just as good.
Blackburn will need to go solo on Osman. Only Nabbit on the inside. Osman. Great play there from Osman, but numbers prevail. Richards. Nabbit outplayed by Barnson. Shin. Couldn't find Nabbit. That's Rexepi again. Koussis. And fans screaming for the whistle. I don't know why. It's in their interest. Both teams to find a goal as the ball whipped in, but no trouble there for Webster. Another ball sought from Hakananas. It's surely one of the last rolls of the dice in terms of an attack, Liam. 48 minutes into this second half.
You think pretty much as soon as this phase of play is over, that'd be it.
One of the last rolls of the dice for the Dandenong Thunder. Screaming there for the free kick. Avdulay. Lunging in. Devlin. Barnson been solid this second half for the Thunder. And the Georgies on the turn. And they know how to score late. They did it last week. And Leo Shin, yet again, turning defence into attack, stealing that ball from Wilfred Shin. He's done all the work. What a brilliant piece of play. This could be, if he could finish, just couldn't combine there with Christodoulou.
Oh, if there's going to be a winner, you would think it should go to Leo Shin. He has been unbelievable today.
And I'm just going to recalculate what I said prior, Lamb. I did mention it 48 minutes. It's actually 46 now, and there will be a minute or two left. There's no doubt about that. And was he obstructed? Craig Sweeney was. Is this too little, too late from the Georgies? We'll find out. They've had plenty of attacking options in the last 5 minutes. Just can't find the back of the net.
What I can't understand, there's 4 players behind the ball for Sunshine Georgies. It's like they don't want to win it. It's like they're just happy with the draw, which is a really dangerous line to be walking.
Devlin. Lunging there was Wilford. Unable to check. And Devlin there couldn't finish. And this game between the Dandenong Thunder and Sunshine Georgies concludes at 1 goal apiece. Not the result the Thunder or the Georgies were looking for, but it must be said, a brilliant game in terrible conditions.
Cracker game, Simon. Like we said earlier on in the broadcast, that we were probably a little bit tentative as well. This game was 1 going to go ahead, and 2 the quality it was going to be of. But the game went ahead, and it was a fantastic match. Probably not too happy for either side, but it was a fantastic match for the viewer.
It certainly was, and turning our attention to the Georgies for the moment, Leo Shin, what a game he had on the scorer's sheet, and complete effort from start to finish.
Sensational. Best man in the park for me, Simon. He was an absolute cracking influence on the game, and you just feel without him it would have been a very different story. Done everything going forward, and then when he got tired, they had the joys of jumping back into defence and playing a bit of a sweeper role. So all over the park, and you can see he's visibly frustrated there that he didn't get the 3 points, but fantastic effort by him.
And the Dandenong Thunder, Shane Recipe, for my liking, definitely one of the best players for the Dandenong Thunder. But Scott Bullock got them back in the game in the 55th minute.
Yeah, it was a fantastic strike from him as well, probably from the exact same angle as Leo Shin's goal. But look, to be honest, the 1-1 result you think would probably be fair.
It was a fair result, and unfortunately for both the Thunder and the Georgies, they will be relying on results as their fate for either finals football or condemned to relegation will be unfolded next week.
Yeah, it will be, and look, there's probably one team happy with this result, and that's the Altona Magic. Should Sunshine have won this and Bentley won their match, then they would have been condemned 100% to relegation. But with that result now, that does give a little glimmer, and it is just that, a glimmer to the Altona Magic about staying in the VPL. Well,
it's a lifeline for the Magic, and what a finale we will have next week in round 22 of the Atlantic Premier League. Altona Magic, Sunshine George Cross, Bentley Greens of the Knights. Can they survive? Who'll make the final five? We'll all find out. We'll all start with our live broadcast as we'll be coming to you from John Cain Reserve, Northcote City versus Hume City. And stay tuned for not only that match, but all the other games which will be played at 3 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on the 15th of August. From here at George Andrews Reserve, we trust you've enjoyed the broadcast. It's all finished square 1-1 between the Dandenong Thunder and Sunshine Georgies. Good night.